How do you deal with conflict? Do you turtle shell it, or do you just let it go? Do you passive aggressively just go, it's all fine, it's good, it's no worries, but you're really raging and pissed?
Welcome to Amy Liz Harrison's podcast, Eternally Amy, a mum of 8's journey from jail to joy. A Gen Xer who overcame her struggle with alcohol to become a best-selling author and mental health advocate. She shares stories of hope and offers ideas for others struggling with mental health challenges, spirituality, ADHD, or maybe just family, travel, and logistics. One thing is for sure, you'll leave with something to chew on. And now, here's your host, Amy Liz Harrison, with your mystery meat sandwich.
Greetings, compadres. Okay, this is like a Christmas miracle. We've made it to the final type 9 of the Enneagram series. So this is how to spot in Enneagram type 9, the Peacemaker. So here's a couple of interesting things before I jump into the mystery meat sandwich. First of all, my husband is joining us for a few moments. You want to say hello?
Oh, hello, everybody.
That was very nice. That kind of sounded like, I don't know, Mr. Rogers or something. That was good. That's good. And also, secondly, I have Matt here in the corner. Nobody puts Matt in the corner, but he's so far away right now. And there he is.
Over here.
This is perfect. Yeah, and I had to take my contacts out, which is like a whole nother story. But anyway, hopefully I can see him. So if he needs to tell me to cut it out or stop swearing or something, I don't know. I may or may not be able to see that. So we'll see how this goes. But anyways, transitioning to the mystery meat sandwich. So this is a quote by Elizabeth Gilbert, and it goes like this. Your emotions are the slaves to your thoughts, and you are the slave to your emotions. So your emotions are slaves to your thoughts, and you are the slave to your emotions. What do you think about that, Mr. Harrison?
That's deep. I had to track that for a few moments, but it makes a whole lot of sense. And it gets back to our thoughts is what I took away from that. The way you have perspective on things, the way you think about things is just going to control your emotions, which certainly in my case, my emotions can often control me.
Very good. I love it. All right. Thanks for that little insight. I like that a lot. I like it. And we're moving straight into the chaplain's chat because this is kind of the main, this is the main shebang. It was funny. I was thinking the other day about all those old words that we used to use. Like my mother still says, oh, well, it was a big brouhaha. And I'm like, okay. So basically, as far as I understand it, a brouhaha is like a big party, a big happening, a circumstance, an explanation. I don't know. Have you heard that word?
I have, I think, or I don't know. Sometimes when you said that, I think sort of excuse the French, shit show, maybe?
Yeah, it's a shit show. That's exactly what it is. That's good. Okay, good. That, and then the other thing is a shindig is a party, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why is it a shindig? Do we know this?
I actually do not.
Okay. Well, to be determined.
But I'm a fan of old sayings, just like a stitch in time stays 9.
That's actually
9.
really true, though.
These are very true, yes.
Yeah. Cliches are really true, a lot of them. Okay. So this is the crescendo. I'm so glad you're here for a little bit because this is the crescendo of this whole thing, the Peacemaker. So this is the person who is kind of the one who tries to maintain peace and harmony and avoid conflict or other emotional disturbances.
I do like that, by the way. I'm all about avoiding all of that.
Yeah, but you're kind of a stuffer, I would say, with a lot of things, right? A repressing type. Yes. Okay.
That sounds like an Australian swear word.
Yes, I'm glad our listeners don't actually know what that means in Australia, or we might be pulled off air.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So 9s rarely rock the boat, but they can be stubborn. And while they typically go with the flow, they dislike being controlled and will respond with passive resistance if pushed too far. What do you think that means? Passive resistance.
I think that's like the passive aggressive, sort of. Yeah, they're putting out the heat, they're putting out the defense, but it's not blatant like perhaps someone like myself may.
The vibes?
Yeah, the vibes. That's a good word.
So it's like this, right? Oh, you don't have to take me out to lunch. No, it's fine. I'm just fine here eating the leftover granola bar that has 2 bites taken out of it.
Woe is me. But don't you worry about it.
Okay, good. Okay, so 9's deepest fears are being too needy and thus pushing people away. They cope with this fear by submitting to the desires and agendas of the people around them, being agreeable in order to be included. Core motivations. 9s are motivated by their need for peace and harmony within their environment and their desires to avoid conflict at all costs because they don't want to experience unpleasant emotions.
I can certainly relate to that objective.
Yes.
I think it's a fine objective personally, but
yes,
it can be problematic.
It can be. It can be because I think this is such an interesting word too, is the core motivations, because my second highest number is the Peacemaker. And I'm going to tell you that it is my experience with myself that the reason I don't like conflict is selfishly motivated because I'm afraid of how that conflict will affect me or could potentially affect me. And so I don't want to deal with those emotions.
Yes.
Or even potential emotions. And so I'm like, oh, I'm so nice. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm not nice as much as I am like trying to kind of protect myself. And there's nothing wrong with that, except that it's awkward because I see that in myself. I see that's why I'm motivated to make a peaceful situation or keep a peaceful situation. But, sometimes that is totally the wrong thing to do. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it is worth it to have a conflict when necessary.
Unless it's your husband, that's correct.
Well, I think that goes without saying, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, I am a Proverbs 31 wife in every stretch of the sense. So, I mean, you couldn't ever have a conflict.
Agree. All I can do is agree with that one, honey. No conflict here.
Right? By the way, I'm here to tell you that I'm going to predict, I think you're an Enneagram type 1. But that's just what I think. I mean, we can talk about that later. I can have you take a test, but that's what I think. But you also have 9 in you, and that's part of this whole thing, right? Is that we're human, and so we have varied traits, and all of us have, some percentage of this. These different traits.
I definitely have 9 in me for sure. In certain circumstances, I don't know. At work, I'm less of a 9.
Yeah.
But at home, I'm all about 9.
Yeah, you have some 9.
Try to.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Core values of the Enneagram 9 is harmony, kindness, and unity with the world, idealistic well-wishing, and these peacemakers aim to be the glue that holds the entire group together, whether they're with family, friends, or colleagues.
Yeah, that sounds very noble. Definitely, unfortunately, I don't fit that. It would be nice if I did.
Goals.
Yeah.
Do you know anybody like that, though? Have you seen this in action? You don't like name names, but.
Well, I mean, just frank it, you do a lot of that.
Yeah.
For sure. Without naming you.
Yeah.
Amy.
Okay. So the quickest way into a peacemaker's heart is to acknowledge their contributions and reassure them of their importance. That kind of sounds like words of affirmation from
Indeed,
the
it
5
does.
love languages,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Which is shockingly my chief love language.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at least you know that. That's good. After 24 years.
Yeah.
Okay. What else are their core values? 9's core values are also gently sharing their nuggets of wisdom and serenity with others. I almost said pacemakers. Pacemakers, aka peacemakers, ideal lifestyle is a sense of inner balance, okay? And they believe in the power of forgiveness and acceptance. Yes. And they gladly create the atmosphere of aforementioned balance through every aspect of their lives, which I think is kind of a bold statement. I think that maybe that's a goal, but I don't know that anybody has balance in every single area of their life. But I guess it depends on how you define balance.
Again, very noble motivation, I would say.
Okay. How do you define balance, by the way?
Yeah, that's I don't know if there ever is balance. I think it's a constant pulsing and moving to and fro to where the needs are greatest to just keep everything, going. I think balance, sometimes people think it's a place you find and you just sit there and it balances, but nothing in life stays the same. And so it's constantly moving up and down. And I think balance, most importantly, is where balance or support is needed. You move there quickly so that it doesn't tip over.
That's good. So kind of like having your finger on the pulse.
Yeah.
All right. I like it. Okay. When Enneagram type 9s are healthy and when they're not healthy. Okay. So how to spot an Enneagram type 9. When they're healthy, 9s usually use their natural conflict diffusing powers to maintain harmony and bring on the social fluidity in the group. So this actually leads me to a question that I have for you before you have to take off for your meeting, which is the whole concept of this conflict diffusing. How do you do that? Like in a work setting? Like, do you have any tricks or tools? Like, let's say you're having a meeting. It's not going well. It's getting a little heated, maybe emotionally charged. How do you de-escalate that?
Yeah, it differs, I suppose, whether there's participants who are escalating it or causing issues, or maybe it's me. Often I have to look at myself and say, what tone am I injecting into this meeting? I think, some things I do is certainly if someone's feeling not heard, give them the opportunity to share and just support and encourage. But also, especially in meetings, maybe let's not get to a final decision right now. If folks are just not ready to get there, if folks are really heated about a particular subject, it's always good to just let some of the discussion and emotion move through, go out, calm down. Maybe it's the next day or the next week, depending on how big it is. But it all varies. But what I can say though is it obviously becomes extremely dysfunctional if you don't get control of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, no, that's helpful. And you said a word that I wanted to kind of highlight. You said emotion, right? Which is emotion, right? So I talk about this a lot, that emotions change, right? Because they're in motion. And I think that's important to remember when we experience emotions that we aren't fans of, like anger or, jealousy or anything that we kind of just want to get out of. And we have a tendency to like self-shame over, to remember that, okay, I see this feeling. I'm going to try and let it be a teacher for me, and it's going to change, right? It's going to change. Happy emotions change, sad emotions, it all moves. It's all fluid.
Yeah, and I think especially on some of the negative emotions, it's always good to just not immediately react on them.
Yeah.
Or cause them to have you do things that will ultimately cause bigger problems.
Very good. Like that's like ding, ding, preventative, right?
Yeah.
Because being preventative in particularly like in relationships or with colleagues or whatever, it's just so much easier than like triaging a situation later. And then if you were to take it a step further, like a post-mortem autopsy after the whole thing is dead and you've made a complete, enemy of someone.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So we're talking about the health of the Enneagram type 9s. So we're still talking about when they're healthy, what that looks like. They're natural counselors and teachers with a gift for persuasion and mediation. They're optimistic, they're fully alive, and they have a strong sense of self-identity, and they can ascribe to a simple and healthy lifestyle. That's interesting. Yeah.
I like simple.
I mean,
that's a good objective.
I do too.
I'm all for that.
Like, just give me the brass tacks, right? The
Exactly.
ABCs. When self-actualized, peacemakers can develop a keen sense of ambition and take the necessary steps to use their calm energy to better others' lives and well-being. They're excellent communicators. We're wrapping this part up because I was going to say goodbye to you in a second. Thanks for giving me the signal. And patient enough to deal with any situation. That's a bold claim. Do you think that's a bold claim?
Yes.
Self-actualized peacemakers can keep their deep well of wisdom to help others resolve their internal and external conflicts.
This is why I love you, honey, and this is why 9 is a good number for you. I love it. I'm blessed.
Thank you for coming down and for...
Thank you for having me, and it's always a treat
to
watch you in action.
That's nice. All right, I love you. I'll see you later.
Love you too.
Okay, cool. Okay, so continuing on, won't be quite as exciting as it is with Andrew here, but that's okay because that's life, right? That's ebbs and flows, ups and downs. And speaking of ups and downs, when they are average or meh, right? 9s stay out of the limelight and maintain regular contact with their close friends and acquaintances. They may have issues with procrastination and can often correct their work habits with consistent schedules and careful planning. Ooh. For peacemakers, this is an important lifelong process. Peacemakers are change averse. And they are lovers of the comfy and familiar. They enjoy the idea of a cozy retreat to take a break from the world and just relax. Chill. They have a tendency to avoid direct confrontation and run away from problems when they emerge. Yes. I have a tendency to do just that when problems emerge. When they are unhealthy, 9s become lethargic, unable to concentrate on a task, and believe they do not matter in the grand scheme of things. Like, that is pretty much the definition of me when I am unhealthy. So yes, it is no wonder my 9 is pretty high on the Richter scale, underneath the 7 for me. They may become sluggish and unable to focus, simply procrastinating time away instead of achieving anything. Cruising through life on autopilot, peacemakers go through the motions without trying to set goals or make improvements. Ouch. Yeah. On another note, peacemakers may become internally self-critical for not being able to carry through with plans and establish a firm identity. Extremely stressed peacemakers often fail to set personal boundaries, which may lead to burnout and emotional exhaustion. Their passive aggressiveness, there it is again, ends up straining existing relationships. So I'm kind of cracking up because the focus thing and the lethargy thing and going on autopilot. And for some reason, this keeps coming up in my head. If you've seen the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which is like, if you haven't, you need to see it. Sorry. But there's this scene where Damone, this one character, Damone, he's like sitting around playing video games, I think, or he's watching TV. And his good friend is on a date. And the good friend on the date, Mark Ratner, realizes that he has left his wallet at home. So this is, of course, pre-cell phones, gang. You know what I'm saying? And so he is like totally crapping a brick at this restaurant. And Stacy's over at the table, his date, gets up, he goes to use the phone, and he calls his buddy Damone, who's like, watching TV or playing video games or whatever it is. And so he explains the situation to Damone, and Damone's like, I can't go to your house, get your wallet, and then come drop it off at the restaurant because I'm busy. It's like, yeah, you are busy playing video games. And that I just relate to that because I have trouble sometimes getting out of my mode of like, I'm chilling, I'm relaxing, I'm finally like, don't bother me. Like, are you bleeding? Okay, come bother me. But other than that, I just want to just be left alone in my zone for a little bit and just kind of, do my thing, right? On that note, growth tips for Enneagram Type 9s. Pay attention to your needs and wants. So 9s get into the habit of forgetting themselves and going along with the wants and needs of other people. They fear that making things about them will lead to a conflict or discomfort. But by repressing desires, you're limiting your potential for growth. So spend time reflecting on your thoughts and feelings without external input to better understand what you truly want. So this is interesting. I will quickly interject that I've reached a point in my life, I haven't always been like this, but I don't like planning trips anymore, planning like vacations, because I'm trying to be cognizant of everybody's different desires and needs, and I'm trying to juggle all of those, and I'm afraid that I'm going to drop the ball and let someone down. So if we're too busy and I have too much stuff planned, then I know there are some people in the family who are not going to appreciate that. And if there is nothing planned, like zero, there are other members of the family who are going to be extremely bored. And so just learning to, once again, kind of search for that balance, and also to accept things for how they are and how they turn out. That's always a challenge for me. I don't know if I'll ever really get there, but I try and practice it, even though sometimes it feels yucky. Okay, another growth tip for Enneagram 9s. Listen to your body. 9s are prone to neglecting their physical health in the same ways that they can neglect their mental health. Yikes. So exercise, meditation, the basics, gang, like the basics, the regular things you always hear, right? But these can help 9s feel more in touch with their body and be able to understand what that body needs to thrive. I think it's doing it. That's the hard thing, right? So learn to see the value in conflict. So expressing yourself can lead to conflict, but it also leads to deeper and more meaningful relationships. Embrace opportunities to connect with people by sharing what you think and being open to disagreements. I don't see myself getting there. I don't know. We'll see. practice being more direct and assertive. Yo, there used to be an acronym for this. I don't know. I'm not going to be able to think of it now, but it was like, if you're trying to stand up for yourself in a conversation, it was like, think or something. It was like, is this true, helpful, important or something? I don't know. It was like this whole litany of, basically instructions to help you to stand up for yourself. And I can't remember it, so I must not be very good at this. So room for growth, right? You can work your way up to being more comfortable in asserting yourself in everyday conversations. That's so funny. That sounds like Stuart Smalley, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me kind of thing from SNL from yesteryear. I don't know. Look it up, millennials. Okay, lean into adventure. 9s value routine and are often uncomfortable with change, as was mentioned before. Yeah. Challenge your resistance to change by exploring the ways in which you are in control of your life. Consider ways that you can step outside of your comfort zone and be more adventurous. I don't know why, but I just keep thinking about this sounds to me like, I don't know, like maybe Love Connection or like one of those, dating platform, like It's Just Lunch or something. If you've seen a reality show where there's like a dating, like shuffling around type situation where you have like 30 seconds at one table with one person and then like a buzzer rings and you move to the next table. I have no idea why I'm saying this, but it's like, consider being more adventurous, like maybe the feedback at the end of one of those or something. I don't know. Okay. So we're moving on to the celebs. Ooh, famous Enneagram type 9s. Now, just remember, disclaimer, these people have not said, yes, I am a 9 for sure, that I'm aware of anyway. So just take that for what it is. All right, ready? Here it comes. Marie Kondo. Don't relate a lot to that. Okay, she seems like a very lovely person, though. Barack Obama. Oh, Queen Elizabeth II. May she rest in peace. Ariana Grande. Ronald Reagan. Carl Jung. Gloria Steinem. Ron Howard. Audrey Hepburn. Morgan Freeman. Whoopi Goldberg. Oh, Abraham Lincoln. And then a host of random characters from pop culture, basically, of yesteryear. Like Dorothy Gale, for example, from The Wizard of Oz. Or Winnie the Pooh from Winnie the Pooh. Luke Skywalker from Star Wars. Or Bruce Banner / the Hulk in The Incredible Hulk. And Pocahontas, because she paints with all the colors of the wind. Type 9s as children. All right. Again, generalizations. Okay. Can feel ignored and that their opinions and feelings aren't important. They tune out a lot, especially when others argue. They're good children in terms of, quote, obedience, unquote, whatever you want to call it, doing what they're asked, maybe. And they keep a really tight lid on their anger, usually, keep it to themselves. Type 9s as parents are supportive, kind, warm, or sometimes overly permissive or non-directive. Yeah, that totally is me. Sometimes to a fault. I'm like, well, you could do this, or you could do that, or maybe this. And I don't know that it's very helpful. Sometimes it's like, yes, when they're older, but when they're younger, too many choices, maybe. I don't know. Type 9s in relationships. So type 9s are comfortable and cozy in relationships. They focus their attention on both comfort and typically on their own comfort. I'm sorry. They focus their attention on both their own comfort and they typically enjoy preparing for the comfort of their mate also. Even more than engaging with themselves internally, a 9 partner will focus on what's going on in the environment, and as long as they're comfortable, they can merge with others' desires and wishes. However, a healthy 9 can still prioritize themselves and their goals and find time for active self-care too. Well, geez, that sounds pretty balanced to me. I don't know. When they're not healthy in relationships, however, 9s can overly focus on staying still or avoiding conflict altogether, which, let's face it, is not so great for a healthy relationship, right? Not great. They want to achieve harmony at any cost, even if they passive-aggressively avoid relationship issues. Alternately, unhealthy 9s may at times tune in so much to what the other person in the relationship wants that they lose a clear sense of their own needs and agendas. And as I talk a lot about on Eternally Amy, having that sense of identity is a really tough challenge when it is rocked, right? To reestablish and redefine one's identity can be really difficult, particularly in parenthood. It's my experience anyways. So in the name of practical and earthly comforts, sometimes peace-loving 9s forget that conflict, not just harmony, is part of the necessary flow of life. Instead, they do what we call, you'll love this, right? If you haven't heard it, turtle shelling, okay? Avoiding rocking the boat, a metaphorical boat anyway. So if you can picture this turtle in a shell, right? How many people out there have ever pet sat a turtle before? Yeah. And they pull their head in and out, right? And it's kind of like the whole, if I'm covering my eyes, I can't see you and you can't see me. No. All right. So at their best, however, 9s can be extremely powerful. They can be thought of as a great river, one which can carry everything along with them, but with a hidden, dammed up reservoir of energy. They have very little access to it due to feeling bad for rocking the boat. For this reason, they are generally the most tired of all the types. How interesting. Because of their inner fatigue and tuning out, so both of those, it's important that a 9 wake up to what's going on internally. When they bravely and wisely engage with their partner about what's not going well without blowing up in rage or retreating, turtle shelling, they're on the right track. The avoidance of conflict may otherwise cost them their own identity and selfhood. Yikes. Furthermore, it opens the door to depression, addiction, one-night affairs, disassociation, and other bad things like murder. I'm just kidding. Okay. So if you love a 9, you have found someone who is known to be the most gentle, peaceable, and altruistic of all the types. This energy spent merging with others' needs, however, can make them slothful. If you have to rouse them, consider yourself lucky if they will move in the direction you want, since they may honestly care more about you and the relationship than themselves. However, encourage them to have their own autonomy and self-respect so that they're not damming up this passive-aggressive anger. Make sure you actively listen. Make sure you pause to see what's really going on with them too. Realize when they get loud They are either feeling unheard or they're feeling anxious. Address those particular issues as best as you can, even though they may say, I'm fine. Making daily prioritized lists will also help with 9s. They always try to put you first, so give them express permission to take care of their own physical and mental needs. So this includes, right, but isn't limited to health, errands, work, hobbies, whatever, fill in the blank. All right. So as we are wrapping up, if you've listened to each one of these types, I just want to say mad props. Mad props to you. I mean, it's a buzzword, Enneagram, right? And I don't even say it correctly. I just say it the way Father Richard Rohr says it because that's how I first heard it. And it's stuck in my brain forevermore. And so again, don't hang your hat on these are not, truths. These are not set in stone, black and white, codes, moral codes to live by, or absolute characteristics of you or your other, your spouse or significant other or partner or anybody else. It's actually just to illuminate us and to show us more about the different sides of ourselves. And some of these types, we may score as a higher number and relate less to than some of the others. And that is all okay, because you know what? At the end of the day, all this is holding up a lantern so that we can look at ourselves and become more self-aware. Who doesn't need that? I need that.
Finally, here's your bailout bag.
So here's your bailout bag. Think about emotions, think about conflict, and think about and evaluate how you think from your perspective, how you deal with those things. How do you deal with emotions that come up that maybe you don't like? How do you deal with conflict? Do you turtle shell it? Or do you just let it go? Do you passive aggressively just go, it's all fine, it's good, it's no worries, but you're really raging and pissed? It's just things to think about, things to notice. The more we become the watcher of our thoughts, in my opinion, the more empowering it is to be able to make changes, to grow, to adjust. At least we know what we're dealing with, right? When we're the watcher of ourselves. If you're brave, and I'm not, because I would never do this, ask your partner, hey, what do you observe about me in conflict? And then let me know how that goes, because I'm not going to do that, because I'm not brave. But so it's been a journey. This has definitely been a journey. And I, for one, really appreciate that the Sufis brought this whole thing to our consciousness so that we can all kind of chat about it and learn more about each other and ourselves and how we operate in relationships with others, because, that's what we do. We're walking the planet with other people. We're not totally by ourselves, and we're going to encounter, folks who are different than we are. So it's just all interesting to me. And I would like to remind you to be kind, to rewind, and thank you for the honor of your time. And don't forget, take what you like and leave the rest behind.
Thank you so much for listening to Eternally Amy. Amy Liz Harrison is a best-selling author, speaker, 12-step coach, meditation teacher, and recovery advocate. To find out more, please visit amylizharrison.com. Keep up with Amy on all platforms by following @AmyLizHarrison. Please subscribe and review this podcast. It means so much to us if you do.